Okay, here we go. I had the good fortune, which is maybe apparent by the gray beard, to be around almost 30 years ago and was invited by Tim O'Reilly to the first kind of gathering of people where he wanted to gather momentum behind this term called open source as something of its own meaning and definition. And the first open source conferences, I fell in love with protocols and built Jabber XMPP back in the 90s, again, almost 30 years ago. Thank you. And so I've seen this whole arc of open source from the very beginning and how it's changed over the years and really what it's become with the kind of GitHub architecture where we're at today. And we're facing something new now. And I've been telling people code is tap water. It is that available. It is that common. Everyone's going to have access to it. So I am putting forth an idea that I had last fall, that the future of open source is social. And of course, it's built on ATproto. Today, when you look at most open source activity, it is forks and clones, it goes through PRs and there's issues, it all goes to upstream, there's a maintainer, a group of maintainers, and while the ESR's original cathedral and bazaar, right, there's a lot of, this looks like a cathedral again, even though there's just a lot of little cathedrals. And I believe that we can actually build on ATproto something that is a true bazaar, where the features and capabilities that people are developing and creating are moving between each other peer-to-peer. No gatekeepers, no upstream, no waiting for releases or merging. You just have capabilities that flow. Every repo becomes alive. Every copy of the repo becomes alive. And there's no upstream. It's all sideways. Today, when you think about software development, people have features they want created. It often goes to like an architect or designer or a developer who's planning those features and creates maybe a requirements document or a scope of what they're going to implement. And then it goes into a developer who's actually like doing the engineering and the code, and they output code and it gets distributed using Git. So I thought, what if we've got these coding agents that make everything different? What if when people now are using coding agents directly, they don't have to be developers anymore, they create a new feature or capability on top of an open source project, they can just tell the coding agent, package up and describe this feature, how you implemented it. Not the code, the description of the feature. This capability, that is what we share. That is the new form of open source peer-to-peer sharing. And that is what I called VIT, short for vitality, thinking that every code can be alive and be vital, every repo. And so now any open source project with a coding agent can take a description of a capability or a feature, and it can implement it for that person. You never need to pull a release or an upstream again. It becomes yours, and it lives in your features and capabilities coming from other people. So the things that you can share socially, you can capture up skills, right? Today, you can take those skills and share them and just post them. And they can come from your network, the people that you follow. And more importantly, you can take the capabilities, these structured change instructions, these improvements, and the people that you trust can actually publish these, and you can go follow them, and then you can post and share things back. The capabilities are what really grow a code base to adapt to what things that you want. And the skills teach agents new things, and they both flow through the same trust network. It is a human and agent collaboration process. As a human, you're still logging into Bluesky. You still have to vet that to make sure that this is something safe for it to implement. And if you believe in it and you've used it, you can vouch for it too, right? And those signals go into the network very similar to likes and reposts. Your agent actually does the work to skim the network, to look at what is available and maybe look at what capabilities it thinks you might like and present to you things that it could implement on your behalf. You can tell it to remix those into your code base. Then you can package it up and say, ship this new thing that I did back into the network. And other agents out there using Vit will be able to see those capabilities. And you can tell it to learn a new skill, like go look for other people that I'm following and skills that they've published and go learn that skill. It's all built in AtProto. These are just lexicons that live in your PDS with posts. It is your trust graph. It is your agents that work the network on your behalf. And everybody can build, share, build, share, build, share. That is Vit. And it is as easy to get started as npm install Vit. And you can Vit login. And you can go initialize any open source project to use Vit and use your coding agent. It will know how to do everything. It comes with a skill. And we can make the world of open source social in the future. That's it.
So there's a whole